Welcome to another episode of Travels in Wildlife Photography. We are here in Hilton Head Island, and we are going to be talking about our trip to Jekyll Island in Georgia.
Yeah, we got to go back again.
Yes.
It was really nice.
So we planned this trip when we were in Jekyll.
Right after that one, the last time.
In January.
Yeah. Yep.
And thinking just it'd be great to go back in warmer weather.
Yeah.
And see what's around in the spring.
Yeah.
And so we did.
We mainly wanted to go back for shorebirds, though.
We did.
That was like the big...
you were really excited after shooting like Driftwood Beach stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we only had like one or two things that worked out, but you could see the potential back in January.
Yeah, I feel like you were really jazzed with all your shots there in January.
I was, definitely.
Yeah, so that's why we kind of planned the trip to go back again. And so this time was interesting. I feel like
shorebirds were kind of the minority.
Yeah.
As you can see, here's like a little collection.
A lot of time with songbirds.
Partially because there wasn't a lot there. Partially because...
we like to sleep in a little.
Yeah, we have been on a kick with that lately.
Yeah. Rest is important too.
I honestly do think if the shorebirds were really good... Hey, Penny, quiet down. We have our co-host, little Penny back here. I think she made an appearance last time we recorded her.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We can always bring her inside. So last time about the shorebirds? Or this
totally
time
lost
with
my
the
train of thought.
shorebirds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I remember. I was going to say, I think we would have gotten up if we went out the first evening.
Right.
And saw the beach where we wanted to shoot, where all the cool driftwood trees are and everything.
Yeah.
Was basically deserted of shorebirds.
Right.
We saw
there was some
4 willets that evening.
Yep. Yeah.
No other shorebirds.
And like a couple of gulls.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Correct. And so I think because of that, there was not a lot of motivation to get up the next morning.
Right.
If it was loaded with birds and everything,
yeah,
100%, we would have been up.
Yeah,
if it was great birds there,
yeah,
like we would have done it.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I think the other aspect could also be just the mess of shooting the beach. I think that sometimes plays a role too.
The mess meaning us getting a mess.
Us getting messy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that sometimes plays a role as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
yeah, just not feeling like getting dirty and getting all
sandy and then
into
having
everything.
To,
yeah.
Deal with that.
Yep.
It's annoying sometimes.
Totally. Yeah. So we did have a wonderful trip though. Yeah. So here's a handful of our favorites, and we'll get right into starting in the beginning here.
Wow, a black and white shot.
Oh.
First one.
Coming out bold.
So this one, the light was still a bit harsh, so I thought I would turn it into a black and white.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of fun.
It is. I think it works, you know? It's a contrasty image. I like how the sky is a little bit lighter behind it, you know?
Yeah. I played around with the sliders a little bit, like the color sliders.
The black and white mixer.
Yes,
yes.
that.
Yep, totally. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I like the pano crop as well. We were both of us were trying to go slower shutter speed just to get a little bit of movement in the water there.
Right.
But you can see, I mean, I don't think you were maxed out on aperture there.
No, I think
that one goes up really high.
Yeah, I think does it 40 or something?
I think so, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just interesting. That was our attempt. I had tried to make some attempts. I liked a few of them, but then the last morning we shot there, I got stuff that I liked way better, so I didn't bother including any of mine yet at this point.
Right.
Because at that point I was using the neutral density filter on the last day.
So you were shooting the 100 to 400.
Yep.
And I was shooting the 28 to 4.
Yeah, so what do you think? You were just saying, we were talking a little bit today about
I
this
was
lens.
saying how I was surprised going through my images of like, oh, these are actually really nice.
Says a lot about what you thought of the lens.
No, I haven't shot it much, really.
Yeah, I know. I keep snagging it a lot.
So I just haven't had that much experience with it. And I don't know, just for shorebirds, like sometimes you would think, right, oh, to get this dreamy look, to get like really cool, whatever, nice shots, you need to have
shallow depth of field.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need the
low apertures.
Yes, exactly. But
yeah, but check this out.
Case.
So here's 400 at 5.6, right? And then there's the f8.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice.
And yeah, listen, like this one isn't as dreamy as this one, but that's simply because of the waves. It's got nothing to do with anything. So watch, as soon as you get like in the similar angle, there you go, like that background just melts away.
So I think these kind of worked. I incled
And this is only a 280 millimeter as well.
Right.
Like, I think this one, if I'm not mistaken, was at 400 millimeter, right?
Yours is 400.
Yeah.
That's 400.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if
That's
you,
300.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, then once again, having that versatility of being able to go to 280 to 270 and
Right.
like, because they were working towards us at that point.
Yeah.
The Willets.
Yep.
There was a group of like 3 Willets or
Yeah.
something.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, look
So-
at that background. Like,
I mean, it looks really nice,
all
I
right,
think.
so real quick, yeah, let's just do that. I mean, the background
It's
rendering
pretty
is
similar.
about the same there.
Yeah.
The left photo over here is the 100 to 400 shot at 400 at 5. Oh no, 270 at f5. And then here you are at 360 at f8. You know, which it could have gone lower.
Yes, so I
probably at
think,
360. I think. Yeah.
What happened was I had it at f8 and it like wasn't going down for some reason. I don't know what when that happens sometimes.
It
like,
is weirdly tricky. So you have
Yeah,
to
you
if
have
you
to-
if you change the aperture at all when you're zoomed all the way to 400 millimeter.
Yeah.
Then when you zoom wider, the lens won't automatically go
right.
down.
Yeah.
So you have to pick the lowest aperture when you're zoomed the widest.
Right.
Then
And I didn't have that.
as you zoom,
Yeah.
the aperture will just kind of follow along with that. So
But like it's fine,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah, totally.
So
But yeah, it's really fascinating how these two lenses aren't that different. But when you think about it, it's only 5.6 to f8. It's one stop difference again.
yeah, but then the versatility of the 28 to 400 is like massively. There's a big difference between 28 millimeter and 100 millimeter.
Yes.
So
I would argue there's a bigger difference there than there is from 100 to 400.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like 100
yeah, like
millimeter.
there's a big difference in what you can see in the environment shooting
Yeah.
at 28 versus shooting at 100.
There's a bigger
100 is
difference-
tight.
There's a
like-
bigger difference from 50 to 28 than there is
Right.
from 50 to 400 millimeter almost. You know?
Yeah.
Like when you
so-
get on that wide end, every millimeter makes a big difference in how much you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That lens is
And
crazy.
It's not even that you might need the. But yeah,
I mean,
like
come
yes,
on.
it's super nice, right?
Nobody would be able to say like,
Yes,
oh,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, if you put some of these, if I put some of these shots up in a story or something, and it's like guess the aperture. I mean, like I don't think you're gonna just go and guess f8.
No, you're not going to guess f8, and also nobody would probably guess that lens.
Yeah, yeah, like it's pretty darn
You
good.
can't
I think.
tell.
Yeah.
Only because we have the settings up here.
And so the like that dreaminess of the so basically this night there was a lot of waves in I think the tide was coming in
It was, yes.
and
Yeah, it was real fun. Foamy,
and
yes.
yeah, there was so much of these waves and so much foam. Both of us got foam on our cameras
I got-
and in the
I got it inside the lens hood.
Yeah.
You had it all,
all
over the bottom.
camera. I was just like, oh gosh, I hope it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, because you're sitting there. We're both shooting really low.
Low,
Were you
and
using the
then-
flip screen or no?
I can't remember.
Okay, I was using a flip screen, but
I
either
think
way,
I might have been.
I think so because we both stayed pretty clean that day.
Yeah.
I don't think we got too messy.
Yeah.
So we both had our cameras. I mean, this far off the ground, right?
Yeah.
And then you're looking through the lens, just watching.
And you're not watching for the foam
and-
to
correct,
come
right?
and crash you.
I feel like you're probably the same as me. I'm always aware of waves
Yeah.
on the ocean side, whatever side that is. I'm always like, periphery is always kind of paying attention to that. Even if my eye's in the viewfinder,
Yeah.
I'm like aware and listening and like even using my body to feel like, is
Yeah,
the wave going
I
to come?
feel
I'm going to
like-
lift up.
Yeah, I feel
But the
like
foam just silently drifts in.
foam is foam you can't tell. Yeah.
And it just was like,
And then
oh,
you're
there
just
my
like, oh,
camera's covered.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny.
But no lasting damage from the foam.
No,
So,
I mean, whatever. Yeah, it
I
was
mean
fine.
it's salty and could
We wiped it off afterwards. Yeah, I
could
think we
cause
cleaned the
a
cameras.
problem. I think my cameras are in much better, and lenses and everything are in much better care now that we're together. Like,
Oh, you think?
I do.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say they were in better condition than mine. Because, like, your camera's looking great. Mine's all, like, corroded, screws on it and
No, I mean,
everything.
like, I used to shoot so much, saltwater,
Yeah.
near saltwater, ocean, even
Yeah,
a marsh
yeah.
and stuff, and, like, my buttons were all covered, and I never wiped it off. I never did. I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
And so, like, on my first camera, the buttons, like, closer, I don't know, to the bottom, I don't know which, the plus and minus buttons or something,
Uh-huh.
they just, like, stopped working because there was so much
Oh, really?
sand in there,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
just grime.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Then did you ever get them cleaned or fixed, or you just were like, yeah, I don't need that?
sold it that way.
No, I remember cleaning that camera before you sold it, I think. Or was that a
yeah.
different one?
No, I think that was it.
Yeah, I cleaned it up good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sold it that way. That's
But
nice.
like, look at that one is nice, right? I think it's pretty nice. I
Yeah.
could probably get rid of these like blobs over there.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
But these are all real quick edits.
Guys, I gotta say, We're trying to keep up with the weekly. We do like doing it. It's a lot of work
Yes.
because we're shooting so much lately. Like
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. We're shooting so much lately that it's hard to keep up and cull and get everything narrowed down
Yeah,
and mildly prepped for the show. So we're trying not to show just straight out of camera stuff.
No.
We want to do little basic edits
edits.
to them.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're just trying to kind of churn that out and get it done. I think, you know, normally when we're traveling, we're not shooting this much volume,
Right.
this often, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like for example, from this, I don't know, 3-4 day trip, I had 2,200 photos.
I think I had, well, I don't know. I had 1,700 at one point,
Yeah.
but I had already been doing some culling.
Right.
So I
you
was
probably had even about the same.
Yeah, right around
So
there.
then it's like, okay, I gotta quick go through these and pick out
Which,
some.
to your credit, by the way, what are you down to? Was that last
It was
number
like
I saw?
180 or something.
180 photos out
from
of
2,200.
in a
so.
couple days.
Yeah. Over,
That's-
I think 2 days I did the culling.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it feel good?
Yeah, yeah.
I was just working with somebody last night who had some Lightroom organizational mess they needed
Okay.
cleaned up.
Yeah.
That's what I was helping him with. And he was saying, he was asking me, he was like, what do you do with your photos? How do you keep them, you know, organized? You shoot
Yeah.
so much. I'm like, yeah, I delete
You
a
have
lot.
to. Yeah.
And he was like, I keep everything, you know? And
yeah,
he's
and I
like,
used to be that way too.
he said, I want to get better at that. And he's like, he heard another photographer say it's like, kind of like overall like freeing for your mind to have
Yeah.
the junk kind of out of the way and
Yeah.
stuff. And he was like, I wish I could. I just haven't been able to get to that.
Yeah, and I feel like we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast.
For sure.
But I think the more you do it, the easier it is
Yes.
to do. And it's also like this, there's a mindset I think that has to come along with it, that it's like, it's okay to, you know, I don't know, like it's okay to delete a bunch of
Yeah.
photos. Like it's okay to take 2,000 photos and only have 200 that you like, you
Yeah.
know, like it's,
Instead of
doesn't
them
make
just
you-
sitting there wasting space on
yeah,
your computer.
like it doesn't make you a bad photographer, you know,
Yeah.
to do that.
No, of course not. No.
So it's like-
I think more of the issue for most people, and everybody listening and watching right now, let us know, like if you struggle with this, what's the main reason for you not being able to do that? I think it's two things for me. Number
Time.
one is time. That's
Yeah.
the biggest, most important one, right?
Yeah.
It's more fun to go shoot than it is to sit in front of the computer
Yep.
and go, delete.
Yeah.
I think the second part is so many people have a fear they're going to delete something that was a good photo that
Yeah.
they don't want to lose. I
Yeah.
think that's the bigger issue. And that's what this guy I was working with yesterday was kind of talking about. He's like, I'm always worried I'm going to get rid of something that, you know, I might come back to. And it's like,
Right.
you might, but
How often
if
are you? Yeah.
are a photographer like most people I know, just like I said in the previous statement, you love to shoot more than you love to edit.
Right.
So you're going to go out and shoot more. You're constantly
Right.
generating new stuff
Yeah.
versus sitting there and going back through years of photos to
Right.
find that gem that you may have like overlooked.
Right.
It just doesn't seem like it's something that's going to happen that often. And honestly, if it was and it's gone, you're never going to remember it. So
Right.
you won't even know.
Right. And if you keep a similar shot, like chances are you had a similar shot.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the
Yeah, you're
other
not
part of
deleting
it.
like an entire set of stuff. You keep
Right.
one or two out of
Keep-
every,
Keep like one or two out of
unless
like
it's garbage,
right, unless they're all bad or
Yeah.
something or
which we've
out
done.
of focus.
I've
or
totally
whatever.
shot entire sets. I'm like, why'd I bother? And just
Yes.
delete.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't keep them. Or, you know what happens with wildlife a lot to me, especially with the birds, is you're photographing something, you're like, maybe I'm just going to try this. And then a little bit later on, you actually
Refine
really
it.
dial it in
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
get a better encounter. So that whole first set, it's like, it was okay,
But
now I
not-
got way better.
Right.
I don't need any of those. They're just
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
I don't need them. The light
Yeah.
got better, the encounter was better, whatever
Yeah.
it was just better later on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think over the last 4 months, I have deleted like 17,000. Now
Yeah,
it's up to like
that's right.
19,000
You just had them sitting in the trash
in the
and had
trash,
to empty it
which
because your
like
drive was full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're
Uh-huh.
gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, 19,000 photos deleted from the past like 4 months of shooting.
And so that's the other thing with the Lightroom, the way you're using it. You're using the not classic version of Lightroom.
Right.
So the more online-based one.
Yeah.
It has basically like a trash folder.
It does,
to
and
it.
then it's like after 60 days, things get deleted.
Yeah.
Permanently. So
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of like a little bit of a
buffer.
buffer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just wait for them to. Usually I just wait for them.
But we
to,
shot so much.
Yeah, it filled up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my deleted was half of my full library. I think my library is only like 30,000 or 40,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
yeah. Back to photos.
back to the photos.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
beautiful.
I think
stunning.
it's nice.
Yeah, it is.
That foam coming.
I know.
There was so much fun foam to play with there.
Yeah, it really was. I like this one a lot.
Thank you.
I love just how all the legs are coming together there. Everything's kind of coming to that point right there, and then the foam just coming into touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really nice stuff. Yeah. Great colors too. The orange sky, the blue water underneath. I love that color combo. I took this just to show what this beach looks like from a distance.
Yeah,
you know,
it's kind of a jumbled mess.
Yeah, one of the times I looked, I was just like, man, there's a lot of trees. Like when you're in it,
yeah,
they feel kind of spread out, and they're like, oh, there's one or two right here. But looking at it
that way,
compressed that way, I thought was an interesting take on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We both tried something, shooting down towards there. You shot at 400. I think I have, oh, you know, I might not have included mine, but I shot that similar angle as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
that
was
kind of fun.
Same color.
Yeah.
Just a different shape and texture.
Yeah. They were working in the wood and whatnot. And I thought it was interesting.
I really like that one.
He looks like a piece of wood almost.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's us enjoying the sunset after all the birds went away.
Yes.
Yeah. And then next morning?
I think that was that same evening, maybe.
Oh, it was on the way out. You're right.
On the way out.
Yeah. So that's when we really started trying to do some slower stuff. I got down a half a second here.
Oh, okay.
Just again trying to show the movement in the water, but it's still kind of not slow enough.
Yeah.
And I was bummed. I didn't even think about it until then. I was like, oh, I should have brought the tripod with the neutral density filter.
Yeah.
And so we got to that a few days later.
Beautiful dust spots all over this one.
So there, F36, you got up to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shows the dust spots. We need to clean that sensor before we go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely we'll do that. But beautiful colors that evening.
Yes,
There really
it
were.
was.
And gulls were the only thing left just perched out on these.
Yeah,
these
and it
drifting
works,
trees.
I mean.
Totally. Yeah, I think it does.
Super fun little hole you found there.
Trying to find some interesting compositions there.
This is the next morning.
Yes, that's right. So we got up the next morning, we woke up, and we were both just like tired, struggling to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And we were like unmotivated to go back out onto the beach.
Right, because it was just willets.
It was not a lot there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did warblers instead.
Yeah, we had heard already a bunch of stuff
singing
singing
right
around.
at the campground, we had, what did we hear? Like yellow-throated,
that
the vireo.
white-eyed vireo was singing
vireo,
like crazy right when we got
Parula.
pulled in. Mm-hmm.
And then we saw that they had like kind of a feeder thing at the campground, where they call it like a wildlife sanctuary.
Yeah.
And you, I think, had the idea like, oh, maybe there's painted buntings.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder if they're around.
Yeah, and so we
sure enough
in the or when we got there, we we walked around just to see what it was, this wildlife sanctuary or something. I don't know
they
what they called
bird
it.
sanctuary.
Bird sanctuary.
Yeah, it was just like a little, not much bigger than what we're sitting on here.
An enclosure with some feeders.
Yeah, that's
and
which is nice.
Yeah, and we saw the painted bunting right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was cool.
That was fun.
Never saw him there again.
No, but I heard him in the campground.
Oh, did you? That's right.
Yeah, I did hear him.
I love this shot, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
I really, really like this shot.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love the depth, the light, and everything, and the light coming through these trees. So,
yeah,
you know, it's like one of the other reasons we love that area, and it's the same thing. We can go out over here on these islands here. If you've never been to the south coastal area, these live oak trees are just a really interesting shape. Yes. They have really kind of those gnarled branches, just like the driftwood you guys were seeing a second ago, right? That's dead versions of those. So they have that shape when they're alive, and then they're almost always covered in Spanish moss, dripping and hanging from them. And it's a visually stunning look. And now that I've been down here with Emily for a few years, I've been getting more chances to photograph songbirds and warblers in that habitat.
Yeah.
But traditionally, I've done all my stuff in New Jersey and further north, which doesn't ever have that habitat.
Right. And like the palmettos too.
Correct, yeah. Which I've done a little bit of that with warblers in Florida.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of the Spanish moss, live oak thing happening down there. It's just not quite, well, it depends on where you go, I guess, down there. Some areas have it, but where I spend most of my time, it's not as prevalent as it is here. And so, yeah, like getting the chance to photograph these birds in this habitat with this, like just the way the light filters through when it's low, you know, morning or evening is really, really beautiful. Here's
so
one
that was probably a similar moment.
Same moment, just slightly different angles. I was 1 to 400. You went 400 prime that morning. Yeah. And so, just having a blast. I do love the zoom lens for the ability to do something like that. And then I have a shot very similar that I didn't include. But, getting something tight. Like, that's the same moment. You were on an angle, getting that. So you're basically shooting that tight version right there into that background. And I went 250 millimeter just to try and show off some of that habitat back there. But again, putting him in that same spot, I think I was shooting over your head, if I'm not mistaken, in that moment.
Right.
But I wanted to make sure he was in that light spot.
Look like the same.
So he stands
moment,
out. We're at the exact same
Yeah,
angle,
and maybe I had more of like, I don't even know. Yeah.
You know, there's one I shot of him singing there. Yeah, so we had a great time with these northern parulas.
Yes.
They were all over everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Constant.
Just hear them constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, it was
there's
interesting.
like similar, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's you, there's me, slightly different angles.
Yeah.
Same exact moment.
Yeah.
I'm singing there. Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's really cool. Yep. And, you know, the other thing, like some of these areas, though, some are obviously beautiful. And then others like this, were kind of like, it's a little visual struggle. You're like, man, it's kind of a mess here. But then if they hit just the right sweet spot, and you shoot it tight, you know, it works. This was accidental, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Anyway, showing off that Spanish moss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, here we go. Yes. So let me, oops, hit the wrong button. There we go. Perfect. So I will let you guys listen to this.
He's so cute.
He was awesome with how long he stayed there for us.
Oh yeah.
I shot closer clips. I shot further away clips. Yeah, it was really nice to see him sitting there.
Oh, I forgot about the Wilsons.
Yeah, so then
there's
that
a
evening,
nesting area for the Wilson's plover there.
I hit it back here. Found it.
Okay. I really like that one. I think that turned out nicely.
Yeah, I just don't love I never love all the stuff coming out of the beach.
Yeah, but that's just how it is. That's the environment. That's what it is.
I know, but when they walk around into cleaner spots on the beach, I appreciate it much more. When I'm on the beach, I generally just don't like all that, you know, the junk that washes up on the beach. Usually it's a lot of these reeds and stuff like that from the nearby marshes.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I just included it just so we didn't forget about him.
Yeah, I did forget about him.
Yeah, and so this was actually
a different section.
Yeah, and kind of got the tip from somebody I'm going to be working with in Newfoundland coming up soon, and she recommended
checking out
that we go check this area out. Yeah. Yeah, so it was this woman Dana Brooks, who we just had a meeting the other day on Zoom to go over our Newfoundland workshop. And she mentioned she was going to Jekyll Island. And I was like, oh, no kidding. We're going to be there at the same time. And we crossed over for like a half a day, I think, or something like that. Excuse me. So anyway, pardon me. We were, I was just chatting with her on Instagram ahead of time. And I said like where we were at the Driftwood Beach didn't have any birds. She was like, oh, I really enjoy the south end. It tends to have a little bit more there. And so we looked on the map, it looked great, and so we went down there. And sure enough, we found this Wilson's plover right off the bat.
Yeah, they had a large area roped off for Wilson's plovers.
Nesting,
Nesting,
Yep. Common turn, we're on the beach, and then, we found this flock, so I think we can show that video. Let me kill the sound on this, though, because the wind
so windy.
Was crazy. So I was trying to work with these pelicans because, just like we talked about at the Huguenot one, I never get to see them in breeding plumage very often, you know?
Right.
So that's what I was trying to do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen, I don't know, maybe I've seen it, but I don't remember how they just kind of like do this with their...
Inside out themselves, basically?
Yeah, it was wild. It was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, so that's the tip of his bill up there. His head is like, nestled in there, and he's just fully stretching.
That's just...
It's
otherworldly.
Weird. Yeah.
And there he is.
And there he is back to normal. Like, the coloration is just really spectacular on them at that point. But
the lighting was really weird.
So bizarre.
It was, I guess, just like really kind of overcast.
It was like some overcast, but the sun was coming through. It almost felt like wildfire smoke.
Yeah.
That's what the look appeared like. Right. But there wasn't any. There wasn't any of that around or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But the cloud thickness, whatever you want to say, it had that vibe to it.
Bizarre.
It really was.
Until later on when it cleared up and finally we could start seeing some of the more glowy light.
But at first, the light was just flat every direction.
It was very flat, yeah.
And like kind of colorless, you can see here. you know, but there was a lot of birds out there.
There was a lot. Yeah,
And this was the other problem for us, was this right here. Everything
that?
was right on the shoreline.
Oh, right.
Right where the waves were crashing.
Yeah.
You know? And so there was no separation.
Right.
And so it was that combination with the wind combination. Mm-hmm. The wind was coming from here. Every bird was facing there. So we could have snuck in behind them over here and shot down the beach this way to get some separation. Mm-hmm. And then we would have been shooting into the light, which I think would have looked really nice, because that's the only direction where there was a little bit of color and stuff happening to it, right? Was that backlit scene. But because of the wind direction, it was so strong, it was all butt shots. Yeah. Every bird was facing away.
Yeah.
So the only other option was to come around the front here like this and try and shoot down that way. But then it was all just gray and flat and colorless. Yeah. It didn't look that nice.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like, we were just walking around like...
It was a challenge. Yeah.
Like, what do we do here?
Yeah.
And the most obvious thing is to shoot, like to come in from the side and shoot this way through the flock and maybe try and isolate a bird. But then you're shooting right into the waves crashing in the background. The background looked like crap.
Right.
So it was just...
And then I had the 135 out, and it was just like not the right lens.
Yeah.
For that.
That's right. I took your 400-4.5 that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were almost going to change, but we'll say why we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So we walked down to this beach. Right before we got to these guys, right down in this area here, we actually saw 3 red knots.
Yes.
Tried to make a move on them. We ended up flushing them accidentally. You know, we tried to be really careful, but they did flush.
But then they came
back. We watched them fly way down the beach and come back into land. That's the one nice thing about shorebirds, is there's usually a lot of places for them to feed and forage. And that was it. We were like, forgot about them. We were just going to see what else was around, right? We walked a little bit more, came back. They were right back in the same spot where we had originally seen them. At that point, we made a more cautious approach. And we were able to, I don't know if this is me trying some of them or just some sanderlings, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's
I think it
really
was
pretty.
Around this time.
Yeah.
When the light started finally breaking through.
Yes.
We almost left.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, do we even stay for sunset? Because it was still like, I don't know, 45 minutes away or something.
Yeah.
And we were almost like, but then we're like, well, we're here. What else are we going to do? Go back to the campground and watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah.
So we decided to stay. And you can see the light got really nice.
It just started popping out. We got a little bit of direction, a little bit of color to it.
Yeah.
And we found this sweet spot right here.
Yes.
Which coincided with
the red knots returning.
Where they were hanging out there.
Yeah.
Except for the fact
that the gulls were in the way.
Damn gulls were there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they finally moved off. Also had some black skimmer.
Really fun. Yeah, I know. So I was shooting, you're shooting 400, I'm shooting 135. It was just like, did not work for this evening, but this is a really cool shot.
Thanks. I love this moment with that little wave just rolling over right there, and then him like bailing out after it because he was about to get hit by it, you know?
Yeah, really cool.
I mean, how fascinating that they can do this.
And this is the one time where I feel like the lighting here is almost like a little bit flat, but then like the moment makes up for that, you know? I
would agree, and I definitely punched the colors a little bit too. So like, I think there's before.
I mean, it doesn't seem
pretty
punched.
Damn gray. Well, I just shifted the white balance a little bit blue, gave a little bit of color to the tonality. I warmed the bird and just contrasted a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's real damn gray there. You know?
Yeah.
So
and that's kind of like what I don't know, what we're seeing with our eyes more is like, that's the other part of shooting here too, versus like in a place like Florida, that kind of the water is not as stunning as like...
Not stunning. It looks like crap.
Yeah.
It looks like mud.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like more muddy sand there. So that's just another difference of kind of shooting these areas.
Yeah,
similar to Hilton Head and everything too.
Definitely.
Versus like Florida where you get almost those Caribbean tones in the water.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I think a lot of it's out of focus here, but there's a section here that's in focus so you can see them actually feeding. Then I lose focus for a little bit, but I will catch it back again right at the end, and then you get to actually see them really feeding. But look at the way he works the waves there. You know?
Yeah, it's very impressive.
I think it'll come back in right here. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool bird.
It is pretty cool to see.
What a cool bird. Yeah.
They are cool.
I wanted to include that. He didn't fly a bunch of times. If he had, I would have tried more video, and I think I would have been able to get a good clip because I didn't have all my focus settings just dialed in for that correctly.
I was going through my photos. I was like, what is this, a cat on the beach or something? And it was Ray.
Just me crawling around like an idiot.
Not an idiot. But yeah, so you were able to get, there was a couple of the red knots, and then one of them, you see the more,
basically full breeding plumage
yeah,
at
just
this
like
point.
looking really good. Yeah.
What a stunning shorebird.
Yeah.
I had one shot. The three of them had flown on their own at that point. We weren't moving. They just, every once in a while they'd fly out and then they'd come right back.
Yeah.
But on one of those times they went out, the three of them, and I got this one shot of them banking, and I got the back of him.
Yeah.
But I blew focus on it just a little bit. But you could still see like the intricate detail.
Yeah,
I think
really
if I zoom in,
beautiful.
like the plumage on the back of this guy is just so intricate and detailed. And when it was like backside wing spread, it looked really, really nice. And I think I kept some shots in here as well just to show the difference between, there was one that was like basically full non-breeding plumage.
Right.
There.
And versus, Yeah, and so this part of that blurry look is like the sand that was moving, just crazy,
that's why I left
windy,
this in there.
and just that was wild.
It was.
I think that was like the windiest I've ever had a beach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no kidding.
We've had a couple of days lately that have been really windy.
For sure. Yeah.
But
I was thinking it would have been fun to show the back of the, like do an iPhone video of the camera getting just
blasted
pelted
with sand. Oh, so you were shooting the 400 and I had the 135, and you were like, why don't we switch lenses? And we were both like, wait
About
a
to do
second. Yeah, we were going to do it, and they're like, wait, the sand. It would get
Because even if we stood up out of the blowing sand, there was so much sand on the cameras. We're like, if we open this up,
if you open it, the sand's
gonna
just going to go in there.
and,
It was just
not be good. So
and you could see the filter things already dirty enough from my photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I know so many people are always like, oh my gosh, like the sand is getting on my camera. Dry sand like that blowing in, I don't feel like it's an issue at all.
Right.
It just brushes right off after the fact for cleaning. And in fact, by the time we walked back, there was, I mean, it was on the camera a little bit, but barely, just from walking around and handling it.
But I think that paintbrush, using the paintbrush to
for sure
helps a lot.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. But I just mean like in general, you can use kind of anything, any kind of little brush or rag or something to get most of that sand off when you get back. I just generally, in my experience, and I'll say this, you know, I'm not trying to convince anybody to go drop their camera in the dry sand like that, but I didn't even hesitate to put my camera down like ground level there and start shooting. You were trying at first to like put your eye in the viewfinder, and I'm like,
oh my gosh, it hurt. It was just too much sand in the face.
Yeah, it just blows around in there. And I remember DSLR days in the past where I would actually put my eye in the viewfinder and do this underneath, so my eye was here because the sand was like hitting up here. It would blow up and into your eye, you know. But now with the flip screen, it was just like a no-brainer. It was so easy to shoot ground level and just sit upright out of the blowing sand. I didn't have a problem at all. It was great. I loved it. Yeah, here's another video. I'll just show this one real quick of just to see how these birds forage and feed like that. I think it's kind of neat. And you can see a little bit of the plumage difference there. That one guy right in the middle there.
And the one versus the one in the back is definitely more light. And
little splotchy, you know.
But that one guy was...
There's that stupid laughing gull.
Yeah.
Ruining our shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had to keep waiting for them to finally get like a clean background, you know. But here comes that nasty water too. It doesn't look horrible there.
It's not nasty.
There was some that one spot we walked in later. It was just like all kinds of like sludgy, messy stuff coming up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a mess, but yeah, I took advantage of the blowing sand, trying to do something there.
Yeah, I think there's just a picture of the sand.
I just,
I think I have one of those too.
I wanted it so bad. You saw me.
Yeah.
I was running around that beach trying to find anything.
Trying to figure it out.
Because the light had popped at one point.
Yeah,
the sun was coming in. You could see the glowing sand. We're going to show you some photos and videos of what it looked like there in the moment. You could just see this orange glowing sand in all these patterns.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, give me any bird. And that gull had been sitting up there for a while.
Right.
But by then, when it really started, like the light and the sand blowing, it was gone at that point. And the only place the birds were right on the water's edge, which is where the sand all stopped really blowing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like I was literally running around like, where, anything, just something. And so it finally dawned on me, there's a bunch of laughing gulls out here. And in my experience with laughing gulls, if you toss anything in the air, they're curious. They're like...
Yeah, because they're used to getting, like, people food.
Yeah, stealing food from people and stuff like that. So I found one shell that happened to be on this. It was a clean beach, too, which I liked.
Yeah.
I found this one shell, chuck it up in the air. Sure enough, like 5, 6 laughing gulls come over.
Yeah, but
and
they weren't landing.
They would swoop down and check it out and then up. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I almost got it and land. I'm like, land. Because I just thought, and most other times when I do that, you chuck something once, they'll come over, and if they see it's like something they don't want to eat, but they'll land nearby.
Right.
Being like, well, what else is, you know, is anything else around here for food? And so I thought that was going to happen.
Right.
But I think with that blowing sand, understandably.
They don't want to land and get
They didn't want to get
blown in the
sandblasted.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, they totally did. So it never happened. I got one shot of a laughing gull or a ring-billed gull that came in later and dropped. But like, look at that. I mean, that's
pretty.
unique.
Yeah.
It's really unique looking. Yeah. Now you're starting to get to see what it looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty wild.
It was crazy. Look at that.
The sand. There's so much sand blowing.
Like, imagine though, just if having a bird there and even standing up and shooting down on it would have been epic. It would have looked so cool. Yeah, we got a video here. I'll kill the sound on this because again, the wind is just ridiculous. But check that out. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was just, I think, yeah, look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
So damn cool. Yeah. I see the gnats have found us.
Oh, I didn't get one.
There's the one ring-billed gull I got just down there for a
yeah.
second, a little bit of that glowing sand and stuff, but he didn't stay long and he was out of there. So beautiful sunset on the way out.
Yet. Yep.
Nothing to shoot really with it. Got these royal terns on the way out. I had this ring-billed gull. I had him
That's
lined
pretty.
up. I didn't mind this. The sun's
Yeah.
overexposed, but it's fine.
I almost would like cut the sun out of it. I would just cut
You know,
the whole thing.
I have another shot like that, and it
'Cause
looked
there's-
kind of boring.
But the pink sand is there, and
Yeah.
his head is little pink.
It looked like,
I don't know.
I don't know. It was kind of just blah to me without it, because I shot one like that because I knew I wasn't getting the sun exposed properly.
Yeah.
And if I was, it was shooting so dark for him. So I shot
Yeah.
one where I just cropped the sun out and tried to expose for him, and I
Right.
don't even know if I even kept it. It looked so blah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could crop this
Just
to
like,
see.
yeah, just see.
You know.
I don't know. I think that's kind of nice. You
Yeah.
get like the glow.
I know.
And I would
it's not,
probably do like pano because
it's
you don't
not-
really need that much sand.
It's not that exciting though.
Yeah. I
There's
just
just
don't
not
know
that
that
much
that
color there.
blown out sun is doing anything for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind that.
I know you don't mind that.
Yeah, you hate it.
I don't hate it.
You dislike it
I-
severely.
I don't enjoy it.
Yeah. Which is fun. It was always funny to me because I love that like one of our first conversations was all about
I messaged you about how do you
properly
expose
exposing
the
the
sun.
because before that you weren't a bunch
No, it was just white.
and it was fine,
Well,
you know?
yeah, until I knew I could. I was like, how do you get the sun exposed?
Yeah.
This is long before we were lovers.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And yeah,
So, it's a beautiful sunset out there. I played around with some long exposure
I like that one.
panning shots of this one skimmer was cruising there, yeah.
And the next morning,
Next morning, you and your 75 millimeter lens.
swirly bokeh.
Go ahead, share about that lens.
It's
Tell the audience how much you love this thing.
I like it for you.
Mm-hmm.
It makes like a cute picture for a human.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
does.
fun.
I think it's probably a great people portrait lens,
I think so too.
for sure.
Yeah. Warblers. So you took out donut bokeh, and I was like, well, I'll try this 75 then.
We decided, so yeah, next morning we go out and we had already had decent luck the day before with warblers. So we're like,
Right.
let's make it way more challenging for ourselves
Yeah.
and go with manual focus lenses for warblers.
And you at 250 and me at 75
Yeah.
millimeter. Yeah.
Which 250, plenty.
250 is like a great.
Felt
for
like a sweet
songbirds.
spot.
It seems like it's just good. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just for how we work. I don't think it's a sweet spot for a lot
For
of
a
people.
lot of people.
You know?
But yeah.
yeah.
It just seems to be because like then also the 135 seems like not enough.
It was a little tough with that. At the end, I did get some good stuff with the 135,
Okay.
but it is more challenging. Like 250 was a pretty sweet
It
spot
seems
with
really
it.
good.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is just funny to me. Like I used to shoot these things exclusively at 500 millimeter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I ever really used teleconverters for it, but I know a ton of people that shoot them all at 600
Right.
millimeter.
Because they are Very small.
They are small, but then also like we have this style. Like this
Right.
is not what a lot of people are trying to do.
Right.
They're trying to
But it's so fun.
fill the frame with that sucker, you know?
Yeah. I feel
So-
like you've done that so much with warblers, especially like shooting warblers for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not?
Don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So donut bokeh was
Definitely,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, these are all 250 millimeter.
So fun.
We had 3 species right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, which is really nice. This black and white came in. There you
This
go.
is, yeah, 75. This thing is cropped a lot.
If this is the photo, here, let's show you. Ready?
Can you see
if
it?
this
Oh,
is
no,
the
no, you
photo right here, what's the crop in there? Go ahead and put your little. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. He's cropped heavily there. So
Yeah.
yay D850 or geez, I went back old school there.
Yeah.
Z8.
Z8.
For the resolution. You know.
And can you tell it's swirly bokeh? Probably not.
Oh, yeah.
And like, is it even a
Maybe
good
a
shot?
little bit over there.
I don't
It's a
know.
fun pose. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. There's more donut bokeh stuff. Yeah, that lens just makes everything into
So cool.
painterly art. It
Yeah.
really does. That one I like, Em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also cropped a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, it definitely gives like
Cropped a lot and still super small in frame.
cropped a lot, still tiny in frame. Yeah, 75. Okay, I was shooting 75. This one is like a really dreamy kind of feel.
I agree.
I think.
I have one nitpick on it.
Okay, tell me.
Can you think about what it is?
I should have
Yeah.
moved the bird
Yeah.
to the spot.
Right there,
Yeah.
so that this was draping over top of
Listen,
him.
I'm
That's all.
dealing with manual
I
focus.
know. And he was a speck in your frame.
Yeah,
It's probably hard to
so
even tell what
I
was
don't
going
even
on
know
back
what
there.
I was doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know. But I do think, like, honestly, if that was the case, if he was just
would
like
show
nestled
even
in
more.
there,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
but it would just be, I think the shot would be exponentially even better because
Yeah.
the whole thing is like, it is a nice dreamy look. I like the habitat that's showing.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's those little picky scenarios, you know. Same thing here, honestly. I kept trying on this one. This was me.
Right.
If I would have just moved to the right a tiny bit just to get the bill unobscured, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But he kept turning his head in there,
Yeah,
and
of
like
course.
I'm manually focusing. Everything's like it's shaking in there because
Yeah.
there's no stabilization in it, you know.
Right.
So it's not easy, and so I understand that those little moves like this are so much easier said after the fact when
Right.
you have all the time in the world
Right,
to
to
look at it on a
process and
huge
be
screen.
like, oh wow, I should have moved over.
Than it is. But
Yeah.
I do find that, like, for me and a lot of people I work with and teach, is I try to reiterate all this stuff, not to say that, like, hey, the photo's bad, but, like, if it's
it
in
could
your head
be
now,
even better. Yeah.
then you can start to actually, like, have those little things pop in
Like
your head.
work on it while you're in the field.
If you get that extra split second and the bird's cooperative and
Right.
you've already got the shot, and then you get that second to look beyond it and be like, oh, look, there's that shape back there. If I just go, there, I
Right.
fixed it, you know?
Yeah.
Or not fixed it, but made it, improved it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And same thing here. And I was trying it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know you can't get it every time, but it is
Oh, that one's
nice
so
to know that
great.
stuff. Yeah. Thank you. That donut bokeh lens is just killer. Now that one shows the swirly.
Right?
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we sent this to our friend Brad, and he was like, "Why is the bird in the middle?" Was he dead smack?
Which is
in the
not. What are you talking
center?
about? It's bottom third. It's actually below bottom third.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was because of the swirly effect.
Yes.
And he was like, of course, looking at it on his phone. And also it's like, in that sense, does it miss the mark if you can't tell that there's a swirly bokeh effect happening in the background? Because I feel like that swirly bokeh, kind of like what I like about it is the potential for this kind of drawing your
Tunnel
eye to the center.
Yeah.
This tunnel kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, like, the subject is mostly going to be in the center. But
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, yeah, if you can't notice the effect, is it worth having the lens to begin with?
That's where I keep coming down with this lens, is like it just looks, in a lot of the examples we've taken, it doesn't look different enough
Like,
to
I
make
feel
it
like
worth the hassle of shooting a manual focus lens.
This
you know.
does give that kind of feel.
It does. It does. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
And
then
then
we
you
have
got
stuff like
that bad boy.
this, and that's, like, really beautiful, you know? So it's like, yeah.
But I mean, I can tell you, I'll show you too. Like, nothing is ever tack sharp
Oh,
on this.
yeah.
Especially
I mean, that's pretty good.
what I'm learning is I feel like the center of this mirror lens is sharper
Mm.
than the edges, and so it's such a habit for me to compose things
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
this, especially when you got stuff like that to
Right,
include there.
because you'd
you
want
know?
to. Yeah.
And it's passable. This is totally an image I would
100%.
consider sharing.
Yeah. Oh, I think you should totally share that.
Well, I have others that I might like better, but one of these will
I
get
really
shared.
like that one.
But I do think if I left them in the middle, it would appear sharper. but I don't know. Like, what's the better trade-off there? Is it better trade-off for
have-
better composition that's like
Right.
slightly less sharp? In my mind, most of the time, probably yes.
Right.
You know, especially if we're going to be sharing it small. You know, I feel like I keep liking this one better because I like the foreground, but I don't know. Like that one's good, but look at the textures there. Like
The textures in both,
Jeez.
though. I
know.
think they're both worthy. So
This
I
is
just
great.
took a lot. Oh, there's the deer.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried to shoot some of him, but it
yeah,
didn't work out.
little deer down there. Yeah.
But yeah, there's just, it's so pretty there.
Well, that's why I'm glad you put some of this in there because we were trying to describe this habitat for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, and this is it. There's the live oak trees
Beautiful
with the Spanish
big
moss
tree.
dripping.
Yeah.
And we will cut back to that later on with a beautiful red bird that we got to photograph in that habitat. Yeah. Was this just for?
Just for fun.
Yeah. Nice. Yep. Oh, because we switched. I shot this on the swirly bokeh lens.
Oh, yeah, you did try it.
Yeah. So like this is what I'm saying. Like, can you see it that much? I barely cropped this.
Yeah, but it still looks cool.
It does, but I don't feel like it looks any different. It looks to me like I could have shot this with an 85 millimeter f1.4 lens and gotten a very similar look. There's a little bit of that spiral, but not a ton, you know? So that's still my thing with it.
Gripe against
I don't have a gripe against it. I'm just like, if it's going to be a manual focus lens that's really challenging to get, like, give me a reason, a strong reason to use it, you know? There's you shooting the donut bokeh lens.
with the swirly, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I do like it too. See, now that one does seem to show off the swirl a little bit more.
Totally.
So I think part of it is I still haven't figured out the right ingredients that go into making that
Yes.
lens really show off that effect.
Yeah.
Because this, to me, doesn't feel like it.
Right.
This isn't doing it as
Yeah.
strong as that one is.
Right.
That one's showing it off more. So
Yeah.
what is it? Is it distance? Is it what the content that's there?
Right.
Is it, do we need stuff at multiple distances? Because this
Right.
is like falling
Yeah.
off as we get back.
Right.
So is that part
That
of
could be
what
part
we
of it.
need?
Right.
You know, like.
Yeah, I think we just have to keep playing with it. Like, it took a while to start getting results with the donut bokeh.
And I still feel like we got a lot to learn on that one still.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So
No, I agree.
we need to just keep working with it.
You can. Yeah.
I will.
I was pissed at my 400-2.8 on this one. I could not get focus on this bird.
That's a 400-4.5.
Oh, 4.5. I'm sorry. Yeah, your lens then.
Yeah, you were pretty
I was
angry.
like, son of a. He was there facing
so
at
stunning.
me. I know. And I had this light. It was bright out at this point when we found this guy.
but like that looks just beautiful. Like,
I know, but composition is weird. I'm okay with
No,
him
no, I
even
was
turned
saying
away.
the light is beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, this was like one of the few pockets that
Yeah.
at that time of day actually looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it would not focus. And it all happened fast.
What happened?
Just getting set up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because we pulled up in the van. So you want to share how we saw this bird?
I forget.
It was like across from the campsite, right? So we.
Oh, right. We wanted to go record our show, this show,
Yep.
across the street to get away from just the campground and busyness and all that.
Yeah.
So we drove over there,
Yep.
and
As
what's the
soon
rest
as we
of the
parked,
story?
I heard painted bunting.
Yeah.
And I asked you because I don't know him that well. She knows the call better than me,
Yeah.
for sure. And so I thought though it might have been
Yeah.
based on us already seeing one. I
Right.
was like, hey, is that a painted bunting? And you listen, you're like, yep, it is.
Yeah.
So I walked outside. There it was.
Yeah.
Like right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah, like right where we parked.
Like
And that
right
was so
outside the
funny.
van. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I all like, get all excited.
Yeah.
Rush.
It's like, calm down.
I think I already had, or maybe the 404.5 was just like the most convenient thing.
It might have been on your lens.
Either
Yeah.
way, I grabbed it real quick and I went out. And I should know better every single time for how I shoot. I am used to having that focus preset that will bring the focus back to me when it misses.
Right.
And I didn't set that. Although I think the problem here was it kept getting caught in the foreground on this shot here. I found this little pocket to shoot through, and there was like these dead branches and I think dead Spanish moss
Yeah.
hanging on there. Because it was like a big branch that
Yeah.
I think like the park authority had just chucked into the side or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
That he landed on. And it just looked, as soon as I looked through the lens, I was like, this light, the textures back here, it was dreamy.
Yeah.
And then I could not get it to focus.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I had something else in my hand that was preventing me from manually focusing the thing real
okay.
easy. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, I was just annoyed. You
Yeah,
know, that I
yeah.
couldn't get it. I was trying to use the single focus point instead of the 3D tracking.
Sure.
And I finally got it.
Yeah.
And that's when he turned his back and faced the wrong way.
Like this
and I
is
got
the wrong
this
way?
stupid composition.
Yeah, but in the same vein, I don't know. It's like these birds are so stunning from behind too. Like
Oh, I
feel
agree.
like you don't usually get to see like you don't see that same like neon green
Yeah.
yellow when they're more profiled.
I
So-
agree, and I'm okay with the looking away. It's my
Yeah.
composition's awful for it, you know, and
Yeah.
all the good stuff
I don't
is
know.
up here.
I
Like,
think it's,
you know,
it
I mean,
works.
like maybe
yeah.
like maybe that actually would fit better. But here's the other thing: like I didn't compose this way because it started just turning into a
Sure.
mess over there.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That kind of works.
I don't know. Whatever. I still don't love it.
Okay, that's
Um,
fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you were shooting that, and then I eventually came out with the Donut Bokeh.
Oh, is that when you came out on
Yeah,
this guy?
I think so.
So I was happy with these. This
maybe I
was
had
like
plain
some
it.
foreground texture. I thought you came out with planet, but
I don't know.
we'll
We'll
see.
see.
That's my favorite. I do love that. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. We've been sharing so many of these textured
Yeah.
oddball lenses things.
Yeah.
I shared
to
this in
see
a
this
story.
one in is so sharp.
Well, no.
Oh.
I shared it in a story, and somebody asked me, what are you using to get this textured effect?
Oh.
Like, I think they thought it was one of these special lenses
But
again.
this one is just
It's just a
it was
standard lens,
Yeah.
just foreground.
Yeah,
so I
foreground.
explained that to him, you know. It's just like shooting through some fun
But yeah,
stuff.
that one's stunning.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, you
Yeah, I
come
did
out
have the
with Donut.
bokeh.
Damn,
Donut
that's
bokeh.
cool.
Yeah.
Damn, that's cool. Yeah. Awesome. And I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, you did come out with that. And then,
And
yeah,
then
we
I
got,
think I switched to the the plana for some reason. I don't know why.
okay.
But anyway,
Is that what you shot this scene with?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, you heard the summer tanager.
This was much later in that day. So we recorded
right.
our
We
show.
recorded our show.
We were ready to just do a little bit of warblers around there. Our plan was, again,
We had like I don't know, half hour.
we wanted to go back. You're getting a bug.
Thanks.
We wanted to go back to the beach and shoot some,
This is when you wanted to try the ND filter.
yes, on the Driftwood Beach.
Yes.
So we knew we were going to do that in the evening, but we wanted like kind of the last bit of light there. We didn't need to get there early at all to do any of that kind of stuff. And so we figured, you know, hour and a half-ish before sunset, we'll work that area where we had parked that has those beautiful trees like Emily showed earlier. And we would work that area.
With the
So-
songbirds.
Yeah, with the songbirds. So all day long, there's painted bunted singing out there like
Yeah.
nonstop. Of course,
Yeah.
when we go out then, I don't
He
think he
would-
was anywhere
yeah,
around.
he wasn't
I
around.
don't even think we heard him.
Yeah.
But, you know, Parulas, northern
Yellow-throated.
Parula, yellow-throated, I think some black and white mixed in.
Yeah.
Some probably vireos and lots of birds right in that area. So we knew we could go out and get something. Plus that habitat was just beautiful there.
Yeah.
And then right when we step out with the cameras, I hear a summer tanager.
Yeah.
And then so we start like following him, listening to him, and boy, this guy came down in some beautiful spots. He never came, he did come down to the ground
Yeah.
for like a minute or two, but then he went back up. But
Right.
it kind of didn't matter. So this, I was shooting the big lens, the 400-2.8 for
And I
this.
think I had the 404.5 on.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah. This photo was really interesting.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of fascinating things about this, I think. The first one is, guys, it's 500th of a second, right? Whatever on the shutter speed. Look how sharp that bird's head is. I'll zoom in here for you to see and let this render. How sharp his head is when he's flying and his wings and body are moving that much. Like,
Yeah.
these birds are insane. Even in flight, their head is like on a gimbal holding stationary
That's
with that
pretty
slower
amazing.
shutter speed.
Yeah.
So what I hated about this one is these branches that were in it in the background. You ready? There we go. That's the straight out
Oh
of
my
camera
gosh.
shot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So these three branches, number one, I underexposed a tad. And then these three big bold branches going right through the bird back there, just really making it a mess. So I sent that to Brad, actually. I texted it to him, and he was like, hey, you should try that AI thing. It never even crossed my mind for some reason.
Oh, yeah,
I was
that is
ready to
weird.
just
You're
like delete it.
Yeah, gonna delete it.
I was totally going to throw it out. And so he did. And I don't know, here, I guess, you know, so here it is without it.
Right.
You know, with the color adjustments that I did. And that's what it
I
did.
mean, that's pretty impressive.
It's incredible. It's
That's-
incredible.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
So if I do share this photo, I'll certainly disclose. I always show my raw files anyway, so people will see it. But I would even write in the caption, it's just for my sake with what I like to do. I would disclose that I removed those branches because I think they're egregious.
Egregious.
Yeah, I'm okay
Good
with. Thank you. I'm okay if it was like, if it was a branch in the top left corner or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have to say anything about removing it in post.
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah.
But when it's so obvious and so intersecting the bird and just so dominant,
Right.
and I remove it, then I feel like I've done a significant alteration to the photo. And for me, I want to disclose that to my audience. So
Right.
anyway, it's pretty cool what it did. It made me want to keep the photo, and it's a really unique shot now, you know?
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
we had a female black and white warbler
Super
hanging in
drama.
around at the same
Yeah, I
time we were
love
shooting
that.
this summer tanager.
I love that.
Didn't get the composition I wanted, but
I don't know. I like that.
it doesn't bother me. I
Yeah.
managed to crop it out. There was a ton of space on the right here that I had to crop out because I was hoping I think it started turning the other way, and yeah, whatever. But then, yeah, you were on the 400-4.5, yeah.
Yeah, and I was enjoying the
You called that out. You
blue
were like,
bokeh. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, there's this crazy blue bokeh in the background, which it was just the blue sky
Yeah.
filtered through those trees. There's like so much of this interesting bokeh that happens between the Spanish moss and the tree layers of trees. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but I really liked the blue. I don't know. It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the red, green, blue, right? And I think you have
Yeah.
even more. There you go. Like there, like the primary colors all
Yeah.
clearly represented.
Yeah.
We had, the sun was coming from behind us on this bird, spotlighted in, still pretty strong. It was still a little
Yeah.
bit earlier in the evening, but it was, spotlighted, filtered through some of these trees as well. And
Yeah.
so you get these little pockets of sun on the bird and shadow on everything else and stuff like that. And then pockets of full shade like this where everything
Right.
was just soft.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So we would just get like some nice variety, and my gosh, this bird is red.
Yeah. Oh,
There's what it looked like.
Oh my gosh. It's
Yeah.
just so magical.
Because that's where we stayed the day.
Yeah, we were spent the day there.
And the funniest part was, so this was just a picnic area set
Yeah.
aside on this dirt road heading down to a pier, right across the street from the campground.
Yeah.
That we paid to stay at.
Yeah.
And once we found this, we were like,
Oh, might as well stay there.
we stayed there every day,
Well, not
the last 2
can't sleep
days.
there, obviously, but like.
You're not allowed to stay overnight.
Yeah.
But so we would just go back to campsite to sleep.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we could get a chance, we were like over here.
Yeah. 'Cause
One
it's just-
car parked
yeah.
there for a little bit one day.
Yeah.
So we had the whole place to ourselves.
And like just bird sounds all around and just this
Quiet,
beautiful
serenity.
environment with these trees. And it's like right out of our window was one of these just draping, Spanish moss. It was just really
Yeah,
lovely.
painted bunting serenading you all
Yeah.
day, all these birds,
All
which
these different
plenty of birds in the
songbirds.
campground.
Yeah, but there's also so many children and
Screaming kids, bikes,
Bikes,
engines,
people.
blowers,
yeah,
chainsaws,
leaf blowers. I'm like, why do they got to do this?
weed
at the-
whackers, like all this noise
Yeah.
from the campsite just manage. And I get that they got to manage all that stuff,
Yeah.
but like
It was just really nice to have
it's
this.
such a turnoff to be
Yeah.
at a campground and just hear all that stuff.
Yeah.
And literally across the street for free
yeah.
is this all day. But
Yeah.
and it's so funny to me, and we talk about it all the time, that nobody else is there from the campground
Yeah.
because everybody else is there hooked up and everything. And that to
Right.
me is like it really is one of the biggest advantages of the way we live in our van with our lifestyle, which is everything is almost 100% boondocking. Very rarely do we plug in. We did it a couple times in Florida because the heat was unbearable, just to use our
To
air
use the
conditioner all
AC.
day.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we don't do it. Even when we're paying to stay at a campsite, we never hook up. We
Yeah.
pull in, we park, we don't plug in electric, we don't plug in water, we don't plug in sewer, none of that stuff. We
Yeah.
don't do any of that because that requires time and effort to do that, and that's
You
our only
can't-
vehicle.
yeah.
So we just pull in, there's no setup. We just press park on the little
Yeah.
shifter thing. There, we're set up. Then it's time to go out and shoot in the
We
morning or
can
the
easily
evening.
do it.
Just hop in the van, hop in and go.
Yeah.
No cleanup, no disconnecting anything. We just
Right.
go, right?
Yeah.
And so that allows us, because we live that way, to go and stay in places like this, like that you get to see right here, and have so much more serenity
Yeah.
and so much more peace and privacy and just connect with nature so much more. Like
Right.
you actually want to sit outside here
Right.
versus at the other place. It's like just noise and there's vehicles driving by and there's dust blowing all over,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't even want to be out there, you know.
Right.
So I just want to share that part about like how we use the van, being not reliant on connecting and
Yeah.
being hooked up at a campground allows us to just live a very different way than most people kind of envision what you would do with being in a camper van
Yeah.
and camping and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
So, a few more
gosh.
shots of this
Yeah.
beauty. Oh,
And then we made it to the
went
beach.
Yeah, yeah.
I did 28-4 with the ND filter in it, the
Yes.
variable ND.
Yes.
Started playing with this stuff.
Did we didn't stay very long, did we? Or we stayed till the sunset.
Yeah, we stayed till sunset
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
one. Yeah. There was
Okay.
just no birds after that.
Right.
We had like
We had two willets. Yeah.
That's how slow it was on this beach, guys.
Yeah, that was crazy.
really, really slow.
Yeah. Oh, when we tried the multiple exposure thing.
It is. This is not a multiple exposure one.
Yeah, that was just, well, yeah, the birds are blurry.
Yeah, I know. I was
Yeah.
trying, but look at like, they're kind of sharp in there, like the shape of it. You can tell what it is, right?
Yeah.
So I do think there's potential for this. That's why I kept it. This is not a shot I would share, but I think there's potential for this. I went to a half a second on this and was panning with them. And it was because I was just panning on the ball head. Now, the ball head I was using for this is so crappy. And I was thinking in the moment, like if I had a really good ball head, or I even said to you,
Like
I might take the fluid head out, the video fluid head, so I could just real smooth move with them. I think there's potential for getting something really interesting with this kind of technique.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to explore that more. And this is like the first indication. This is the first time I've ever tried it.
Yeah.
Any other time I do panning shots like that, 1/10 of a second is about as slow as I would go.
Right.
But being slower than half of a second here, or right around half a second,
Yeah.
was kind of a gamble. So
there's my multiple exposure
it's your first
shot.
Your second one. You did some in
I
Huguenot
did try some in Huguenot.
that we failed.
Yeah, I think this one works.
I think we talked about on that show what we thought we had to do.
Right, shooting
We made that remedy here.
more into the sky that you could kind of overexpose it.
We thought we needed a white sky with our
Yeah.
birds kind of silhouetted or close to
Right.
that dark, you know?
Yeah, and so that's what I did for the first shot. It was just like, you know, these pelicans up in the sky and an overexposed background kind of.
Yeah.
And then the second one was the
1/10 of a second, it looks like you went with. Yep. Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah.
I mean, it works really
I
neat.
think so. It's fun.
Does it like
It is
visually throw you off with
It is a little trippy.
the perspective of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, what is this?
Like the scale of the birds flying over there
Yeah.
feels like a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
But that's
But
the
it's
thing.
pretty.
Yeah, mine does the same thing. Look how big they are
Yeah.
flying there. Like the reality was if you were zoomed that far where they were flying, they'd be specks, you know?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they could have flown closer, but I still
Yeah.
feel like it just looks weird. Something's off.
Yeah. And your scene is definitely wider,
I went way wide. I went 41 millimeter on the
Right.
second shot.
Well,
the first
'cause I
shot was
was
400 millimeter.
100 to 400, I think.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I did zoom out to 100.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the second. So
To
we
get-
both shot the first one, the birds flying by at 400 millimeter because they were way out there.
Yes. Yeah.
And then our second exposure was for you 100, me 41. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It works.
Totally.
Yeah. It makes
I
a
think
neat
it's
look.
fun.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sharp birds.
It's
with
funny because we must have shot like very similar.
the stack is like.
The stack is very similar.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was like a very similar moment.
Yeah, probably. Well,
Yeah.
we both shot them as they flew by, and
Yeah,
then
I
you go
know.
back later
And
and
you-
pick the one you want.
Right.
But you're
to
picking on the
start.
camera. It's
Yeah.
kind of small and tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I had, gosh, what was it? It was a female common grackle on some little stumpy stuff. And so this is you getting a video of me shooting that, so you can see right down here. That's where it was, and I'll just pause that and go back. So this is kind of the setup there, and you can see the bird right there.
Yeah.
Sitting on that. So that's what, you know, and I was shooting from back there on the tripod, trying to do some of this. That's the look I was after. So I did one, I kept this one because you could see sharp bird and movement. And then I did get one that's just totally sharp bird where it didn't move for a full half a second.
That's, yeah, nice.
Yeah. I remember you saying, like, that bird's never going to sit still, grackles are never going to hold still, and I didn't think
I
so
did?
either. Yeah, we were saying, I remember saying, I was like, come on, hold still, and you were like, it's a grackle, it's never going to,
Oh,
because
I
it's
don't
like
even
feeding in
remember
there
that.
and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like a wading bird that's just like stalking,
Yeah.
and, you know.
But you'd think half a second isn't that long to stay still.
No, I guess not.
Like
but-
if you're a human, right? Like
Yeah, but you could actively try, like birds, hey bird, hold still.
hold still for half a second.
Yeah. Beautiful sky, and that's about all we had that night, right? So,
This is where you'd wanted some birds.
I wanted one so bad because I had the setup to do this.
Yeah.
Imagine if I had a gull perched on that,
That would be nice.
right? That's what I was saying to you. I think is different than the ones we did get the next morning. So we'll show you in a little bit. The next
Yeah.
morning we got some where we did actually get some birds on these trees, but
Right.
the tide was out further.
Yeah.
And it didn't come up and surround the tree like that. I love the tree just going into the ghostly water there at the 30-second exposure.
Yeah.
It just feels different to me.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
is nice. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Those colors and everything.
Yeah.
And also iPhone.
Camera.
Yeah, like 30-second exposure with an ND filter. Yeah.
So walking out on the beach that morning, walking to the beach, there was a green heron.
Which I
don't
want
think
to
I kept any
pat
of those
myself
shots.
on the back here. I don't like the shot. I just want to show you guys. The 28 to 400 again.
Right.
I still had the ND filter on it. I had it dialed out, so I think it only kills without a stop.
1/6 of a second.
Handheld.
Wow.
1/6 of a second, handheld.
Patting. You literally patted yourself on the
Yeah,
back.
but
That was
look
funny.
at this. So again, I just want to point out like how good this lens is. That's a 1/6 of a second handheld. Just standing up, holding it right there. That's how you can combat f8 on this lens, you know?
Yeah.
Now listen, you're not shooting action in this low light or any kind of low light, right? But if you're just doing portraits and you're worried about
Right.
the f8 thing, obviously you don't have to shoot handheld at a 1/6 of a second, but you
If
can.
you want to keep your ISO.
Yeah, like the ISO is at 4,000,
4,000,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I kept that. Let's check out this video, see what this is all about.
Just showing the beach
Yeah.
in the morning.
What a beautiful place.
And this is a very popular sunrise spot just for people visiting the island because it's a really unique location. And then sunrise comes up right over the water, of course.
Yes.
So we had this one bird on this lovely tree. I think
Yeah.
there was 2 at one point.
Third one dropped in.
Okay.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
3 out there at one point.
But there's Ray.
Yeah. So watch the settings here, guys. So this is me shooting to get a sharp bird. So I was
right.
shooting 1 second exposures at that point. I don't know if I went faster.
There's
Yeah.
25 seconds
Yeah,
exposure.
so I was doing the 1 second to get the exposure because I wanted the ISO at 100.
Okay.
And that's what the exposure needed to be, unless I bumped the ISO a bunch more. So, and it worked to give me that sharp bird. And then I left the camera on the tripod, shot my 25 second exposure, and then blended the
Very
sharp
nice.
bird in and post. That's
Yeah.
the final image right there.
Very nice.
So that was the technique I kept going with that entire morning was faster shutter speed, get a
To get a
sharp
bird.
bird.
Yeah.
Once I had that, then the birds could leave. Honestly,
Right.
at that point, I didn't care. And then I could do the same composition with a really slow exposure and get the blend. In the meantime, you end up with 1 to 400 because I stole the 28 to 4.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We might be getting a second one, guys. That's how much we like this thing.
I know, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. That's
Hello.
cool. Oh, that's me again. Okay.
I was going to say, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was mine.
So there's the fast exposure for the birds. There's the long exposure. You can see the birds are blurred.
Yeah.
Blend them together. There's the final.
Yeah, really pretty. I like this one a
Yeah.
lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I do think it makes a difference. Like that water
Yeah.
and the like everything.
It's
It's
it's like more distracting.
it's more iPhone snapshotty,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's
this-
more like artistic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And so I just kept trying that. You know, I would do some. Oh, I think that's you right
yeah.
there.
Just
yeah.
like boring.
Man.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I just had to include something, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then there's the long exposure, well, short, long, blend.
Yeah.
No. This one's
Definitely.
actually a blend of the long exposure in the middle and then the short one up front
Oh,
because look, the
okay.
long exposure in the middle was just this. And it was just, to me, it was just a bunch of like, just, I don't know, not pretty texture.
Okay.
And the
and you liked the
fast one had the foam floating there.
foams, yeah.
So I blended those
Cool.
pieces of it. So it's kind of neat. You could pick,
Yeah.
take and choose like the pieces that you like out of each exposure, you know?
Yeah.
And get what you want. That one's cool. I like that.
That's yours, yeah.
Oh. I know, it's funny though, we can't tell sometimes. I don't even remember what we took half the time. I think that
I like
means
my photo.
I think that means we have a very similar shooting style.
Yeah.
A lot of the times.
Yeah.
You know, when we both you've done it before too.
Yeah.
You're like,
And I'm
oh,
like,
that's
I like
great.
that. And I'm like, oh, it's mine.
Yeah,
I
uh-huh.
took that. Oh, okay.
That's nice
I'm so
sometimes
good.
to be surprised, yeah. It was a bit of a challenge to figure out an interesting composition. I was trying to
Yes.
shoot just normal, shutter speeds here.
Yeah.
And I started out here with just like space.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started trying to incorporate others, and then I got to that one.
Right.
And that one
Yeah.
I like a lot.
Yeah. I feel like it's more unique.
It's just graphically cool. And as soon
Yeah.
as as soon as I walked into that spot and looked through the lens, I was like, oh, here, I could see it right
Right,
away. I
right.
could tell like, oh, this is really cool. And then I played with the zoom just to make sure I got this full curve of
Yeah.
this foreground log, The higher aperture at that point was helpful just to keep most things in focus because I think having this be blurry or really blurry,
Would
I
be
feel like would have
distracting.
broken that sort of the graphic shape of everything, I don't think I would have liked it as much.
Yeah.
That one's nice. I like that one. Great color gradient there.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You get a pat on the back.
Thank you.
It's Emilie's birthday, by the way. Wish her happy birthday.
And now it's going to be like 3 weeks from now that
she's
this
recording. I know, this isn't coming out, but when we were recording this today.
Today's my birthday.
Is Emily's birthday. And she's taken the time out of her birthday
to work.
To record and share this with you guys.
Yeah.
That's really nice,
It's
Emily.
kind of dark.
A little bit dark. Yeah, you could just bump that up a little bit. Piece of cake, right?
Yeah.
I love the melty sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
Lovely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
The bird's like out of focus.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know if
kind of
it
cool.
works or not.
There's just me shooting a cropped in sun. There's us taking
Oh my
a
gosh,
moment.
and the gnats were horrific.
Oh, awful.
Yeah.
They've
Ooh, I really
ruined it
like
out
that
there.
one,
Yeah.
even with the blown out sun. What?
Yeah, it's funny. There's no way to get that sky and the sun in the exposure.
No, but you
Yeah.
could have hidden the sun with
Like
the
that.
tree.
Yeah, I did there. And that was kind of cool. We got to play with the ND filter. So once the sun was like honestly up past
Right
that
there,
a little bit
yeah.
more,
You're not getting.
without an ND filter, there was just no way to get the settings dialed down enough.
I really like this one.
Thank you. Even at the maximum aperture, right? So you could have, my lens that I was shooting there, I think goes up to roughly f40.
Yeah.
I could have set it at f40 at, I think it goes down to 50 ISO and maximum shutter speed, which I think is 16,000 on the Z6 III that I was shooting, right? I could have set it all there and still not gotten an exposure in that sun. That's how bright it was. No humidity, no clouds in the sky.
Yeah.
As soon as it wasn't touching the horizon anymore, it was too bright to expose.
Right.
But with that variable ND filter, it was kind of cool. We were able to dial in and look, just shoot at normal settings.
Right.
500th of a second, f8,
Yeah.
100 ISO,
Yeah.
nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
You know, and we could dial it in. Now, the sun is still so much brighter than the sky around it.
Right.
So when you expose for it, you're not
Nothing
getting any
else.
exposure in the sky.
Yeah.
It's just turning black. So it's only going to be the silhouette of the sun and whatever you put in front of it. But kind of cool that that tool allows us to do it when that sun gets higher. I'd be curious to see how high the sun can go and we can get away with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, one of the things, I know you're not supposed to point the sun with these mirrorless cameras and a telephoto lens very long when it's really high, it can actually like burn the sensor. But if you dial in that ND filter really dark, it's cutting in a ton of light.
Right.
So I don't think you're getting the intensity coming through anymore. So that might do the trick. It'd be kind of interesting to play because it might be something cool to do. Harsh sun midday, like some interesting silhouettes of different birds in different places, you know?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So worth some experimentation there as well, which we
Yeah.
haven't done yet.
Yeah, yeah. Just more cell shots. Can't help myself.
Yeah. I mean, when it's beautiful like that, why not, right? Last morning, we went out.
Well, so that was, right after the
Oh, it
sunrise.
was.
Pretty much like 10 minutes after the sunrise,
Yeah.
we left the beach. Because there was, you know,
Because we're
just
like, the light's harsh.
well,
We're
that,
out.
and there was just like the one
No birds.
gull or whatever. So, yeah, so we did some more warblers. And this time you had the 135 and I had the donut polka.
Okay.
I don't know if I have anything from this.
I have some I really love. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I really love the scale of this. I definitely did a little bit of dodging and burning on the scene just to really get the bird to pop and to kind of, you know, for me it was just like, you know, de-emphasize this, but emphasize, I love this shape. And I pushed it even cooler. It already had a more cyan tone.
Right.
I went even more with it.
Okay.
Just because I like that color contrast that was happening in there. But yeah, I was really happy with that. This is kind of where we were shooting for this kind of stuff, just walking down this path. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I did get that.
You nailed this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really, really cool.
That one is fun.
That's amazing. It's so good textures back there. And here's what I shot in the same moment.
Yeah, so 135 versus the 250.
Very different feeling to it.
Yeah,
Right?
but both beautiful.
It still doesn't seem, I don't even think, did you crop it that much?
No, hardly.
I don't think you cropped it that much.
Yeah.
250 to 135.
I know, but it's like half.
It's a big difference.
Double, whatever.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
It's a big, especially shooting small birds.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
I feel like,
you're right.
you know.
You're right. The larger stuff wouldn't have probably quite as noticeable a difference in it, but yeah, it's wild.
Oh, that's fun.
He came in and fed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we realized we were working with this bird for a little while, just waiting for him to try and come down on this. He did come down on the vine, and then he grabbed a caterpillar right there.
And he wasn't eating it.
Beat the hell out of it, and then we saw him go on the ground and pick up more. And at that point, we realized he was gathering food for his chicks, you know, like, which is crazy. They have chicks already.
Yeah.
But he was, as soon as they're carrying food and not eating it and getting multiple things, that's the only reason I've ever seen them do that.
Yeah.
And so we just left right away. As soon as we noticed that, we're like, all right, we're out. We don't want to be in the area and bother the bird at all.
Yeah. Like let him focus on his.
Yeah. Because most of the time when we're working with them, we're looking for just like the territorial birds. The male's just like defending territory, just out there singing, you know, being bold, and that's kind of his job at that point.
Right.
And so it doesn't feel like too much of a bother to be interacting with them at that point. But when they're feeding young, it's like, I don't even want to be in the area.
Right.
You know, just kind of keep that disturbance to a minimum.
So this one was pretty much shooting like pretty straight up at it.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that you can get away with a donut bokeh lens, but not a normal lens.
I don't understand why.
I don't know why yet either, but maybe we'll figure it out at some point.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I never...
He was high.
Yeah, it was like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think you weren't like, this isn't something I'm going to shoot, you know?
Not at all. I was working with the Perula down below.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, yeah, she's shooting a yellowthroat right over her head. Same spot. We're almost touching each other here.
Yeah.
I'm shooting a northern Perula down this stuff.
And this guy was just hanging out on this little
swing.
The Spanish moss was holding this branch on there, and he was just singing away and just sat there for like...
a while.
I mean, I think even after we left, maybe he was still sitting there. Yeah. That one's really cool.
I was shooting that while it was happening.
Yeah.
I was like, again, right, if I'm going to get nitpicky, if he could have been like right back there,
sure,
and I could have moved like, into the right just a little bit more and gotten him like against that instead of having this coming in behind him, like it just, the lines would have been better, but I still love the shot.
Yeah, I really love that one.
Yeah,
nice.
Thanks. And we wrapped up with a painted bunting again.
Right, yeah.
Right at the end, yeah. I think that was the last shot.
You were shooting him and I was just making a coffee at that point.
I think so, yeah. So back to, here's some of our favorites here. We had I think it's really cool. For me, it's really fun to see like the
diversity, yeah, of the different lenses and kind of just different looks of the different photos.
Yeah.
And the different birds.
Yeah, totally.
Birds.
Yeah, a lot of diversity of birds there and everything. So what we went for was kind of a bust. The shorebirds, like,
but we still got,
there's a few mixed in.
Killer willet shots.
Yeah, and that red knot was like, that's one of my better red knot photos.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stunner.
Yeah.
Good thing you had the 400.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad I didn't go with like a wide only lens.
Yeah.
That would have been tough. But anyway, a beautiful spot to be. It was a great time of year and a nice last little kind of this area trip before we head out to our next destination.
Which is Hawaii.
We leave tomorrow morning. We still got to go pack.
Yeah, so we should probably get on that.
Yeah, we should.
We've been waffling on for an hour and 17 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I think
Thanks
that's probably
for watching.
Time to wrap up. The next time we see you, we'll be talking all about what we did in Hawaii.
And we'll probably be recording that here
as
well. We'll
be back here again right after that for a little bit before we're back on the road again. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.